how do you feel about like the studios in Colorado as a whole? Do you feel like there's a lot of studios? Do you feel like there's not enough? Do you feel like the demand is just right? Like,
it's oversaturated.
Yeah. I'm glad you said that because I kind of feel that way too.
Yeah.
And I feel like even since I first started, it's like there's so many studios that be popping up.
Yeah, man. It's like there's a new studio announcement every month. And I've been in this long enough that it's just, I look at it as kind of unfortunate because I know the numbers behind this whole thing, and I know that most of these places can't last if you don't already have a clientele going into it. You know, it's like I'm both rooting for everyone,
right?
But I also understand like this is not a get rich quick scheme.
Right.
This is a get broke quick scheme.
You gotta really love it. Like,
you gotta love it. You can't be in it for the money.
Right.
And the only reason I've been able to be successful is because I've got 10 years worth of experience. I've worked with everybody in the city for a long time. You know, when you're just starting out and you have like 4 clients, it's like, how are you gonna pay your bills? You know, back when I was working at KMG, one of the cool things was there was really only like 3 studios in the city at that time. There was 4. There was Side 3, of course. We took a lot of Side 3's clientele because we were just as professional, just as dope looking on the inside. But our whole thing was like, we're going to be invested into the artists. We're going to be your friends. It's not just in and out like you're on an hourly type of session. It's like we really want to get to know you and like go to your shows and build with you.
And that was at KMG?
That was KMG. Okay. So we took a lot of the Side 3 clientele. Then for the people that lived on the west side, there was the Lab, which the Lab back then is completely different than the Lab now, right? Because Mac D's a success story. Like Mac D has turned his studio into a fucking beautiful place.
Yeah, no, definitely.
In the beginning, it was, you know, a regular run-of-the-mill studio.
See, I didn't see that part.
Yeah,
I just, from the gym when I got in there, at least I was like,
right.
Nice.
So Mac D was on the west side. There was DIA Studios. You know what I'm saying? Boozilla.
Been out here for a minute.
Yep. So that was all there was. And KMG out of all those places became the hub. Like everyone was recording there. And that just made a really dope culture because not only for us as the engineers did we get to work and see and get to know everybody, but for artists, like your session might be leaving as the next guy's coming in, and it's like, you know, it's dope artist A meets dope artist B. And not to mention we have multiple studios in there. So there might be, you know, there's just all sorts of artists, and they was always crossing paths, and that led to a lot of collaboration and networking. So that's what we don't have anymore. Now it's just like everybody's so spread out and spread so thin. We don't have no hub where it's just like everybody can just like maximize they creativity.
Yeah, I feel like even when I first started in like 2018, up north there was like no studios. There was KMG in Boulder, which I don't think is there anymore. No, I could be wrong.
No, it's not.
And then there's 432 in like Federal Heights, and those were like the only ones up north. Yeah. And then as I got more involved with the scene, I heard about it was Pat and Annie. Yep. And like all the Lab, Side 3, DIA, like all the ones you named. But then like even within the past, man, like 4 or 5 years, it's like, you know, all these other studios are popping up. And constant. And like you said, I cheer for it, but at the same time, it's like it's almost similar to the artist thing where it's like I feel we could in Colorado fill the hip hop infrastructure in so many different ways. And I feel like a lot of people go the artist, studio, and videographer route. Yep. And I mean, that's probably not just a Colorado thing. I'm sure that's everywhere. But I think, I don't know. That's just my opinion.
Yeah. And I mean, the unfortunate thing is a lot of those studios don't last 6 months, you know, because that overhead starts piling up and you're paying out of pocket for it because you don't have the clientele to support your business model. Right. I know studios that have blown through $100,000 in their first year on marketing, and that's lack of experience. Right. You know, again, I started this studio on about $20,000, so and no marketing budget. So it's just like I was able to do that because I already had the experience in the industry. I already knew how to use that money. But most people with $20,000, they couldn't start a Bright Future Media with $20,000.
Yeah, I mean, I use $10K to start my harmony, and I like some of it, most of it, I'd say was spent in like video, like camera, and like equipment. But then there was some of it was just like blown on.
Yeah,
like,
you're gonna make mistakes. You know, it's there. You know, that's
going out
of
state.
Yeah, there's no doubt. I'm not saying that every dollar I've spent was a strategically well spent dollar.
Yeah,
but I was definitely able to not make as many mistakes as most new businesses would.
That's valid.
Yeah.
Would you? What's like one piece of advice you would have for someone who's running a studio in Colorado now, or someone who in the world is trying to start a studio? Just like one piece of advice. Or engineer.
I wouldn't advise it.
Fair enough. It's tough, yeah. I mean, I wouldn't.
It's not, you know what I'm saying? Nobody becomes a millionaire from running a studio. It, you know, and that's just the nature of the business. It's stable money. But pull out your calculator and see how many $60 an hour sessions you need to run to reach $1 million. You know what I'm saying? Like this has never been like the master plan for me. This is literally just the foundation, so that hopefully we can kind of catapult ourselves to getting those millions. But this is not no great business plan.
You're keeping it a buck.
A studio is not a great business plan. It's just stable. It can be.
Okay. So you went viral like a week or two ago. You said you was the best engineer in Colorado.
Yeah.
Something along those lines. If you want, let me actually find the quote.
What did I say exactly?
Let me find the quote. When they ask who the best engineer in the city is, don't ever think it's not me.
Yeah, I mean,
talk about it.
Yeah.
I definitely had the comments booming on that.
The engineers that are better than me are not in this city. But
as far as Aurora or like Denver as a whole, like the Denver metro area,
they're not in the state.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? Like I'm an engineer that can be, it doesn't matter. Put me in a room with the most famous engineers in the world and I'm going to be able to hold my own. You know what I'm saying?
There's a lot
of, I'm not going to be in a studio session with Mixed by Ali or Alex Toomey and get embarrassed because I just know my inside and out. And I think
you have 10 plus years experience engineering.
Yeah. So I started at KMG when I was 23 and I'm 35 now.
Okay. So you're 12
years professionally.
Most people out here don't have that experience.
No.
You're right.
What prompted me to make that post is because I just impressed myself. So we had just gotten back from a trip to Austin where we were shooting content down there.
South by?
Nah, we were out there for the Eclipse.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And basically for the Eclipse, we went out there and we performed our live set. Four artists. I produced it, 4 artists, and then we have 5 band members. So we had live band.
And this is on the way?
We're out there in Austin during the Eclipse. So we start our set an hour and 30 minutes before the total eclipse. So during the whole process of the eclipse, and then our set ends right as the eclipse starts. All right, we practiced this for about a month. This is for content for my YouTube channel that hasn't dropped yet.
Yeah, I was like, okay, this sounds good though.
Yeah, we're working on it. Okay. It's going to be really dope content.
That's smart.
And we had fun. It was a great experience. But, you know, a lot of challenges came out with it because we don't have anybody in Austin. So literally we go out there and the day before the eclipse, I'm scouting like an hour north of Austin for locations for where we're going to shoot this stuff. We didn't have a location set.
Right.
So that was our day before. And then we film. And so
you're doing it outside.
We're doing this outside.
Right?
Yeah.
Okay.
So what I basically did is I brought a mobile setup to Austin and recorded, and because we have to power all of our equipment and gear, there's a generator going on. So the reason why I made this post is because I had finished some of the mixes for that project, and it sounds like it was recorded in the studio. You know, so it sounds like it was recorded indoors in here, and we literally was with a mobile setup with the generator going on in the background. And it's just like, a lot of engineers, a lot of hip hop engineers in the city, they can't mix a live band, let alone a live band outside. Let alone could they even mic a live band outside, and then let alone could they cut a generator out of that whole process.
No, that's impressive.
So I had just done something that I knew a lot of people wouldn't be able to do. So I was feeling myself. when I wrote that status. There's definitely engineers I respect out here, respect they hustle, but at the same time, no engineer is feeling me.
I respect that. You gotta,
and they need to get better. Like a lot of the engineers in Denver are not good enough. You wouldn't be able to have me as a client. You know what I'm saying? If I was a rapper, if I was back to rapping,
right,
and I walked into a studio session with you, you would piss me off because you're not good enough.
I've seen some
y'all aren't good enough.
Yeah.
And so if anything with that tweet is I'm just trying to tell y'all like
motivate a little
get
bit.
better.
Yeah.